Morning, welcome back to Rhubarb Yoga again. Today we are going to look at the warriors. We are going to start with the warrior series. Some of you may have been watching some of the classes and thinking, when are we going to be getting to warrior 2? Which can be one of the most well-known poses, even if you don't practice yoga at all. So now, as we have done quite a few poses and we've started to build up perhaps a little bit of strength and some understanding in how we move, but also some confidence in ourselves and our ability too. We're going to look at this. The warriors are a series of 3, 4 or maybe even 5 poses depending on how you look at them. Naturally, there is warrior 1, warrior 2 and warrior 3, known as Virabhadrasana 1, 2 and 3. But then there are adaptations, transitions between poses too, like reverse warrior, exalted warrior and humble warrior. But today we are going to start with the first one, warrior 1. And with warrior 1, Virabhadrasana 1, it again, like all of the warriors, is a transitional pose. So we can move from warrior 1 to 2 to 3 to reverse warrior to humble warrior, exalted warrior, if that is your choice. So Virabhadrasana is its Sanskrit name, its traditional historic yogic name. And Virabhadrasa is the god who came down and developed from a lock of hair that was cut off from Shiva. So going back to its roots, which is something which may explain the positions of the warrior, which is why I'm telling you all of this. It originally starts with a man called King Dasha, who had a daughter called Shati or Shakti. She fell in love with Shiva. Her father did not approve. She became bereft and decided to end her life. And when Shiva found out, he was beside himself. He cut off one of his dreadlocks in anger, threw it to the ground, and from this grew Virabhadrasana, the warrior, who was meant to create revenge. So when warrior 1, Virabhadrasana, arrived, he was in the shape of the sword. He turns up with his sword ready. And as we go into the pose, I will show you that. And then into Virabhadrasana 2, he moves and brings his sword out, ready to take aim, move forward and wreak revenge upon his enemies. So, those of you that are interested in the historic points of yoga and how things originate, that's something for you to have a look at. Perhaps it might whet your appetite and you might want to feel a bit more intrigued about how some of these words, these names and these poses come around and how they started. The actual style of the warriors has always intrigued me, with the arms up, the arms out, and the arms outraged. And from that, with the explanation of Shiva and wreaking his revenge, perhaps you might see where that comes from. So let's have a go. Warrior 1. Now, with any of these poses, you can start in 2 or 3 different places and move forward. You can start at the front of the mat in mountain pose, or you can be in a downward dog, again transitioning from one to another. And to be fair, some may want to start in all fours because they don't feel like they know comfortably where to move to and where to move from. So let's have a look at how to start. So coming to the front of the mat in your mountain pose. Make sure your feet, toes are lifted, spread, heels are grounded, our 4 corners of our feet are ready. We want to make sure that the leg that is going to be at the front, our bent leg, is going to be strong. So we're going to step back with the other leg, keeping this leg nice and strong. So we're going to step back and we want the gap between the 2 legs to be not a tightrope, we want it to be train tracks. Because the narrower the gap, the poor the balance. It's exactly like a tightrope. If you're standing on a tightrope, there's no room for balance. If the gap is wider between your legs, you have got that chance of grounding a little bit easier. So when we're looking at our feet, the front leg is going to be bent in a moment. We want the back leg to be angled out at about 45 degrees. So in the same direction as the top corner of the mat. And the reason for that will be, so our pelvis is facing forward. We don't want that twist at all. So facing forward is going to be more comfortable, safer, less injury prone. And also we can ground and ensure that our legs are safe and sturdy too. So we want to push through that back heel, keeping it grounded. And once you move into the front leg and bend, you will discover if the gap between is that little bit too big or too small, and please adjust. So we're going to bend into that front leg. Now I know that I could extend the back leg a little bit further out, which is what I'm going to do. And that is for me. Again, with any of the front forward bend knees, we're going to keep that over the ankle, and that is for our stability. Our foundation, again, is still always the key point of starting. So let's see how you feel. We need to make sure our hip bones are pointing forward, like little headlights. Our front leg is bent. Our back ankle is grounded at a 45-degree angle. And we're not turning or twisting that way. We're keeping facing forward. And once we feel comfortable, if you don't think your heel is comfortable on that floor, I want you to raise the heel. This is more like a crescent lunge, but this is still giving the strength in the front leg and the extension of the back thigh, the quad, the psoas, and the hip flexor, which is all of those things that we will still get from a Warrior One. So find where your back foot is going to go for you, okay? Once that pelvis is forward, that knee is bent, see how you feel. Open up the front of the chest, allow the ribs to fall and have space, the core to open, and allow breath to start to come in, and see how you feel. This is your Warrior One. And now we're going to show how Shiva's dreadlock grew into the warrior by raising the arms. And this is our sword, ready to come into battle. If you're more comfortable and your shoulders are good, you can bring the hands together, biceps by the head, by the ears. No pushing the arms forward, don't push the hands back. You need to keep this nice line up from the pelvis so that we're not hyperbending, stretching in any direction that is going to cause any strain on the hips or the shoulders. So raising the arms up, we are Virabhadrasana, the warrior, ready for battle, with our sword drawn. That is Warrior One. So let me transition to the next side, and I'll show you it from the same angle, from a different angle, so you can see. So we are going to bring our front leg forward to mountain pose. And this is where you may want to think, right, it wasn't comfortable for me to step back. So, coming down to the knees. This is more comfortable. I want you to bring the foot by the hand. Tuck the back toe under and extend the leg. Checking our train tracks are not a tightrope. Turn the back heel to 45 degrees. Knee is over the ankle. This might feel more comfortable. Hands on the thigh to steady and balance. Pelvis is facing forward. And once we are comfortable, we then raise our sword. Grounding through that back leg, keeping that strong. If this leg is strong, that leg is strong. Pelvis is balanced. Sword is drawn. And let's look at it from downward dog. So you see all three transitions. Coming into your downward dog. Finding your balance. Now from downward dog you can raise the leg to bring it forward if you need to create some momentum. If you are a little bit stiff first thing in the morning, please just bring the knee forward and place it by the front hand. Again, looking back, we're in a similar position to we were with all fours. Twist the back foot, checking our train track space, adjusting, always adjust. Don't be scared that you can't, always adjust. Come up to the knee, Check the pelvis. Just back leg is strong. And there is our sword, our warrior. And from this, we can transition into our warrior 2, which is by opening the arms, keeping the front leg bent, and turning the back foot. And we will look at that one next time. So, I hope that you found Warrior 1 intriguing. There was interest in there, and something perhaps you didn't know. Any of the warrior poses helps develop strength in the legs, adaptation for the body, transition of flow, allowing the core to be switched on, the hips to be activated and open, but balanced with the pelvis. And we're activating and opening up the front and arms too. All of this encompasses quite a strong pose, but can also give us an incredible sensation of grounding, strength, through the focus of the arms,